Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It's time to place your bets. It is me, Joe Pisapia, and today it's Friday. You know what that means. It's time to talk about some props, and to help me do it is this handsome young man here with the spectacles. It's Andrew Erickson, the prop prophet. Clearly, things are going well here. After the show, he's going to push his glasses up to the very top and then get in his Maserati and drive off. Also joining us, one of our favorite folks here from Fantasy Pros, from Betting Pros. You know him as the Welsh. It's Chris Welsh. Welsh, it's nice to see you here on the Friday Prop Show. I know you love the player props. It's great to have you on today. And I got to ask you a question because I haven't talked to you since the 49ers loss in Cleveland. Are you over it yet?
No, not now. I was in a good mood right up until you did that.
No, but I didn't get to see you.
I'm not over it. But I'm over it.
You mean in a good moody, right? That's what
I love that Erickson brings the dad jokes constantly, and he doesn't even have kids. He's still not even married yet. He's engaged. I can't imagine how strong your dad joke game is going to be, Erickson, in like 3 years from now. It's something investable, I can tell you that. So we are going to go through the prop market today. And boys, anytime touchdown scores as well, we're going to talk about those. I had one last night. Man, I had the over on the 4.5 receptions on Alvin Kamara. Don't ask me why that number was 4.5, but I had that with Rashid Shaheed. Anytime touchdown score, 750 plus 750, and Rashid Shaheed made one of the great catches of all time and could not come down in the end zone. I was so sad the rest of the night, and then they had that comeback, and then it failed, and I was even sadder. But that's okay. It's time to go make some more money. That's what we're going to do today. And just a reminder before we get going with the picks, we've got that special offer going where if you have yet to download the Betting Pros app, now's the time to do it, because when you do, you get a few free days of the premium features. And that's great because that'll take you right here through the weekend for football season. Your NBA season is upon us too, so you could start using it for multiple sports. You could use the prop bet cheat sheet, the prop bet analyzer, all the special tools at Betting Pros and the premium features that we offer here. So if you haven't already, now's the time to do it. Make sure you download the Betting Pros app. Make sure you check out some of the bells and whistles on the premium feature too while it's free to you. And if you like them, of course, you can go premium. And don't forget to also like this show and drop a comment below and subscribe to the channel, because when you do, you get an opportunity to win this bad boy, an incredible Robert Tonyan autographed jersey. No, don't adjust your television sets, your cellular device. Robert Tonyan. Welsh, can you believe it? We're giving this bad boy.
Let's pair that with Bubba Franks, maybe.
Bubba Franks is next week. We're giving that one away. But you can win this jersey. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below. I told you, if you win, it makes an incredible gift to any Packer fan friend of yours. It's great for one of those. What do they call that thing, Erickson, where they have, is it the white elephant? Is that what they call that? Where you have the different presents going around and eventually everybody picks some wacky present. That's a great gift for
I don't know how a Packers fan is going to feel if you give them a Bears Robert Tonyan jersey. That's why
it's funny. That's the whole point of the humor.
It's really trolling them.
Yes, it is, because it's funny. But again, it could be yours for free. Free stuff is still free stuff. So, Welsh, let's start with you. You're the guest for today. Give us your first prop for week 7 in the NFL that you are hot on.
I am playing the chalk of chalk plays. This is one of those, we had a couple of those last year where it's like, you might not hit it every single week, but if you bet this every single week, you are going to come out probably 65 to 70% of the time. First up on my prop this week, Bijan Robinson receiving yards, 24.5. If this is under 28, I'm going to play it probably every single week. Bijan has hit this in 5 of 6. The only time he didn't do it was when he caught his 2 balls against Houston for 12 yards. He's had no less than 4 receptions every single week. He has had, outside of the Houston game, he's had no less than 5 targets every single week. He smashes this one, and they opened it up. They opened it up low again. Bucks, they're giving up, on average, 6 receptions and 35 yards to running backs. If you want to look at PFF projections, he is projected for 28 receiving yards. I love Bijan. I'm also playing his rushing yards. I'm not going to talk about it here today, but Bijan receiving yards is the play you got to play every single week. And I know that Erickson's got kind of another version of this, but if they're going to put it to us under that 25, under that 26, it is an auto play, and it is my favorite of the week.
Love it. Like you said, he only missed this one time. That was against Houston, and the Tampa Bay defense tough against the run here, so you want to get Bijan working in that passing game. Makes a ton of sense to me. Erickson, you're piggybacking this bad boy here when it comes to Bijan. How are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm just doing it on the reception side of things. I was able to find it at 3.5 receptions at plus money over on FanDuel, and that's what I just love here. I mean, he's projected for 4.3 receptions. He's 5-1 towards the over. Again, the only game was that Texans game where they just he didn't see the receiving usage that we've seen every other single week. So again, Bijan he leads the team in catches. He leads all running backs in catches. Well, before Alvin Kamara had another 12-catch game last night. He's so involved in the passing game. And Ritter, I think when you're looking at him on the road, like he's going to look for his check down option. Like if he's facing a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that's getting pressure on him, if you just look at the quarterbacks when they faced Tampa Bay this year, their average depth of target has gone down based on their career or their season-long average. So they dial up the blitz. If the blitz is coming, Desmond Ridder's going to look for his hot route, and it's probably going to be Bijan Robinson, who ran 45 routes last week. He is a running back. He ran 45 routes. I think he can catch 4 passes. So
I think he can.
I like Bijan.
I think he can. I like it quite a bit. If you put these two things together, by the way, you're getting plus 115 over on FanDuel. Maybe some other places you get it a little bit better, but good numbers there. We like that a lot. When you just casually threw in that Kamara thing again, what were they thinking when that number was 4.5? I mean, I'm an idiot. I should have ladder bet that one. I don't know what I was thinking yesterday. That was the one thing last night on the Thursday live stream that we loved. Bogdan and I was like, look, this is the lock of this game. And it did get close last night. All right, so good. We're both in on Bijan, all three of us. I just bet it on Betting Pros right now while we were talking. Let's get to another one of your props for Week 7 in the NFL. Welsh, what do you have?
All right, we're gonna start getting nasty here, and I've actually got a nastier take on this as well. I am staying in this game, and I am going to Drake London, who I have railed on because Desmond Ridder stinks, and he has just been bad the whole year outside of the last 2 weeks where they've started throwing the ball more. In Drake London, we have seen an increase. 4 straight weeks, we've seen a target increase. Over the last 2, he's had over 200 yards receiving and 21 targets. The Bucs, they give up big against number 1 wideouts. 4 of the last 5 weeks, this prop would hit, and they've given up at least 100 yards and 6 receptions to number 1 wide receivers. For example, week 6, 12 receptions, 124 to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I just pulled up the wrong ones, and I got the rest of these guys in here. But this is where it gets gross. I am thinking about ladder betting Drake London this week. And I know it feels disgusting. Projections have him over this total, which is a low 47.5. I think it might have even moved to 48.5. You can get around almost 3.5 to 1 on 80 plus yards this week. And if you're going up against high target share, which we've seen that target share and the snap percentage and the overall offensive percentage, go to Drake London. Also, if you want to talk about 2 wide receiver sets, no team uses only 2 wide receiver sets more than the Atlanta Falcons. I actually like to put Bijan out at wide. They don't bring in other wide receivers. So this is a first target guy. I like Drake London receiving yards as the easy prop, but I'm a little bit of a psychopath, and I might jump in and take a ladder betted, maybe even just jump to the 80 yards and get 3 to 1 on my money for Drake London this week.
It's the reason I love you, because you're a psychopath, Welsh. All these years.
I'm a psychopath.
All these years. All right, back to you, Erickson. Let's do something non-Falcons related, though. That's the one thing I ask of you, Erickson. Go.
Well, I'm gonna stick and not be fun and bet unders here.
That's
so
fine.
Going to Josh Jacobs, who's basically been Mr. Inefficient on the ground this year, averaging 2.9 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs just not looking like himself from last year, but under 73.5 rushing yards here. And you must be asking me, like, Erickson, like, aren't they playing the Bears? The Bears suck. Like, you got to play the running backs against the Bears. Like, well, the Bears' run defense is actually pretty good. So they have not allowed a running back to surpass more than 73 yards against them at any point this season. They've allowed just 3.5 yards per carry. You know what that's the same as? The Cleveland Browns, who everyone looks at as the best defense in the NFL. The Bears defense is really bad against running backs in the passing game. Like, that's where you're going to see Josh Jacobs have his production. I think he could catch. I love his over on his receptions and his receiving yards. But when it comes to rushing, I want no part of Josh Jacobs, and I want to bet the under on one of the guys who's been one of the most inefficient running backs this year. He surpassed 70 yards one time this season. So it's 73.5. That's just way too high based on the tough matchup.
The other reason I love this one, Erickson, is because whenever you have backup quarterbacks playing, you have guys who struggle to convert third downs. It's one of the things actually that really, held back the Saints last night. At one point, I think they were 1 for 11 on third down conversions in the game. I think I saw that stat last night.
Are you calling Derek Carr a backup quarterback?
Don't start with me. We did this yesterday on the Fantasy Pro Show. Do not start with me. I will hit a guy with glasses. Do not.
Should have kept
do
Dalton,
not. Just
man.
because you put
Hit
the
a guy
glasses
with
on
glasses.
today does not mean I won't come after you. But yes, on the YouTube channel, if you're watching, he's got his glasses on today. The contacts are still on order. They're on back order. I don't know where they are, but it's that inability to convert third downs where you take opportunities away from the offense, and less opportunities means less attempts. Less attempts means potentially less yardage. So it's a really smart under here. I like this one a lot. Scott Bogman's not here, so we could do unders today. It's fine. It's all good. All right, let's go back to you, Welsh. You also have somebody here when it comes to the Raiders, and it's one of Derek Brown's favorite things this week that he's giving to everyone. It's Mike Mayer. Let's talk about it.
It is. One thing I want to do on my absolute brain shutdown for a second, I just want to add this because I screwed up my note on that Drake London one, the number one wideouts. It was 3 of the last 4 weeks. AJ Brown over 131, DJ Moore over 100, and Amon-Ra St. Brown over 124. That's 3 of the last 4 weeks against the number ones against the Bucks. That is where my brain shut down because I screwed up my notes. But yes, Michael Mayer is one of my favorite bets this week. They opened after this past week, and I know obviously the Jimmy Garoppolo stuff is going to put it into question, at 20.5 receiving yards. 20.5. The Bears, on average, are giving up 55 yards receiving to tight ends. Number 1 tight ends have beat this total 5 of the last 6 weeks. Thank you very much. And Mayer has beat this 2 straight weeks while seeing an increased target share. If you're also looking at younger quarterbacks, the weird thing about this team is all those wide receivers are safety net things. Like when you look at young quarterbacks, I think of tight ends. I think, tight ends are safety nets for these guys. But so is Jacoby Myers, and so is Devontae Adams, and Josh Jacobs is in a pretty good situation here. But it doesn't take much for 20.5 as they are trusting Mayer. And I think you're also going to have the defense more hyper-focused, even though Devontae Adams wants the ball more. We can get this in one catch. Michael Mayer beating this. It's a great matchup. It's only 20.5 yards. It's an absolute smash for me.
Question for you, Welsh. Will Devontae Adams finish the year as a Raider? I say no.
Ooh, I saw some rumors about my 49ers even looking at them.
That's not fair. The rich getting richer in their own division. They're going to do that? I mean, I guess if you're not competing.
I'm going to say yes, he is, because I just think it's really tough to trade. I mean, look at Jonathan Taylor. Like, Jonathan Taylor was absolute hissy fit and, I'm
but
totally
he's a
injured and all
back.
this.
Running backs, they struggle there. There's some team. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs could use an alpha dog wide receiver right about now. That would be a difference maker for the Chiefs, bringing Devontae Adams in. I
think there's a possibilities there. I don't think it'll happen, but what I do think could happen is I think Michael Mayer will cash this in the first half.
My bad, too, originally of the 49ers call. That's NFC West. All of us today. It's Friday. You can tell our brains are forgotten.
Well, with Devontae Adams, so do you think, okay, here's a trade, right? What if you're the Lions and you're like, hey, we'll give you Jameson Williams straight up for Devontae Adams?
I think you do that trade.
Lions?
I think everybody wins there.
I mean, the Lions want to win right now. They had Devontae with Amon. Oh my God! Like,
can you imagine the Raiders too? They're like, wait a minute, we get like a 4-3 wide receiver. Oh my God!
They do love that.
That'd be amazing.
But
what else do you need?
The Chiefs would be a tough sell in the division. That would be a tough one there. Training with the 49ers. Look, I don't know, man. It's again the rich getting so rich, but I mean, I'm not gonna put it against them. I mean, anything could happen at this point. Certainly. I just don't think he seems so unhappy there to me.
I'm just waiting for the Patriots to trade for Jerry Jeudy because he's the worst receiver to trade for, and it fits the brand.
Now I'm depressed on the show. All right, let's get to the next one of Erickson's picks. Before we do, a reminder real quick. Don't forget, join that NFL contest, bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Make your picks worth something. Don't just put them out there just for fun. Make sure you're logging them in Betting Pros. Go join our NFL contest. Go click that community tab on the app and then go to NFL contest. The season-long winner, whoever is the best of the best, wins a Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed jersey. But we're also doing weekly prizes, monthly prizes, so you can join at any time. Betting doesn't even have to be legal in your state. Just make picks. Have fun with us at NFL contest. We're giving away swag to our Betting Pros shops, to our NFL shops here at Betting Pros and BP. There's a Big Pod Energy t-shirt that everyone's just itching to get soon. So there you go. Again, Welsh, can you believe it? I'm still sour about this. I said this yesterday. Erickson got a t-shirt before I got a t-shirt and you got a t-shirt. What the hell is going on here?
You don't have a t-shirt?
No, I don't think so. I haven't
Do you
seen
have a hat? I have hats.
You have Welsh hats? You have Welshism hats?
Oh, not Welsh hats. Oh, what are you saying? I thought you were talking about Fantasy Pros.
It's inspired by Erickson. Like he has his own clothing line.
It's my own line. It's my own line of
That's so much swagger.
Ooh,
so jealous.
Swag by Erickson.
Swag by Erickson. All right, let's get to the next one of your picks here, Erickson. What do you have for week 7?
I'm no fun, so I'm going to go with another under here. Keaontay Ingram, running back for the Arizona Cardinals, under 10.5 receiving yards. Now, the whole Emari Demercado thing with Keaontay Ingram was a whole mess for fantasy football, but it's important to note that Demercado still played the majority of snaps in that game. Keaontay Ingram had 1 carry in the second half. He played 37% of the snaps. Do you know why? Because he's not involved in the passing game. He doesn't play on third downs. And that's when we see running backs put up the majority of their receiving totals. And their receptions is usually on long down and distance and on third downs. So in a game where I think that the Cardinals are going to be trailing to the Seattle Seahawks playing on the road, Keaontay Ingram's not even going to be on the field. So how is he going to get to 10.5 receiving yards? He's been forever a running back that's been two-dimensional, an early down grinder. That's what he was at Texas. That's what he's been in the NFL. And I was betting James Conner unders before he got hurt in the receiving game because Demercado had a big role on third downs. That role has not gone away. James Conner had his receiving prop at 6.5. Keaontay Ingram's at 10.5 because he got 11 yards last week. That's the only reason why. There's no way he's going to get even close to this in week 7.
I like the unders.
Pound the under Keaontay Ingram.
I like it. So help me God, if Demercado goes off, I'm going to lose my mind on Sunday.
He's going to play.
I know he's going to play.
More
He's on the
than
field so much and he did nothing. And if he goes on there and he goes, could you imagine everybody that, and look, I'm one of them. I spent some money to try to get him thinking, okay, this is going to be the dude. Ingram is not that interesting. And the next thing you know, he does nothing. Now everybody drops him back to the waiver wire or he's on the bench and he's going to have 15 points and I'm going to lose my mind.
It'll be a 98% snap and he'll have 4 carries and that'll be it. Absolutely nothing. It'll be all done.
All right, Welsh, save us from this madness. Give us another pick for week 7.
Well, Brandon Aiyuk, you are always our only hope. Receiving yards over 65.5. It's a little juice, which I don't love. And I was kind of hoping it was going to open a little bit lower as it had been in previous weeks. But there's a reason it's not, because it's against the Minnesota Vikings, who are giving up the 4th most receiving yards across the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL. Also, giving up the most receptions to wide receiver in the NFL. The total, they're ridiculous. Also, the 49ers are in a spot, as everybody knows, Deebo Samuel a little bit banged up, Christian McCaffrey a little bit banged up. They also need to be more effective with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy clearly played his worst game of the year. But Brandon Aiyuk has been the constant. Purdy, I've been very critical of, and he just doesn't have a really great ability to check down. He kind of stares down number ones. Maybe he can get to a second read, but his number one is Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk has hit this total in 3 of 6 weeks. He's averaging over 18 yards per reception and has had at least 4 receptions in 5 of 6 games this year. So you can do some simple math. Also, new change for him, 4th in ADOT among wide receivers, and he leads the San Francisco 49ers in yards after the catch. That's something you would never expect. That's a Deebo thing, 4.28 yards after the catch. This is a great matchup. He's going to get littered with the targets. It ain't going to Kittle. They'll probably do some check down stuff with Christian McCaffrey. I think it's going to be a lot more throwing, and Aiyuk is going to be at the center of it. So even though it is a bigger total, 65.5 is a smash for Brandon Aiyuk.
Would you tease it, Welsh, to 70.5 or even 75 if you can get it down to plus 100 or a minus 105 kind of number?
I would. I think, again, depending how dangerous I'm going to look right now, how dangerous you want to live, this might be something, if you wanted to play an alt line receiving yard, I would be pretty comfortable. I'm going to look here real quick.
Well, and the reason I say it too, while you're looking, just to give you some time there, is also because we still are unsure about how healthy McCaffrey is and what that looks like. So if more targets should be available in this offense, that would be a fascinating one to lock in on the earlier side, if you like it, because this number might grow somewhere on Monday night if we get some weird news about McCaffrey over the weekend.
Well, and also as far as like what he's done, he's already had 2 games where he's gone over. I think it's 148 yards, 129 yards. He's also gone over 70. So if you wanted to play the alt line, which I'd be comfortable doing, 70 gets you almost even money, but 80 is around 1.5 to 1, 90 is 2 to 1, and 100 plus yards is 3 to 1. I really like that 3 to 1. I'm not officially saying this is ladder bet season or anything like that, but I might jump in, take his normal target, and then I might sprinkle a little bit on that 100 plus yards at 3 to 1 because I think this is a great matchup.
You're not saying it's ladder bet season.
I'm not saying, but I also said I'm not gonna ladder bet Drake London as well.
All right.
So again, psycho.
Let's take all these double negatives and turn them into a positive. Andrew Erickson, give me your number 4 pick for the week here for week 7.
Going back to Puka Nacua, over 4.5 receptions. This was like one of the lines that stuck out to me the most when I was just looking at the player props with the prop cheat sheet over on Betting Pros, and I was like, wait, 4.5 receptions? Aren't they playing the Steelers, like one of the worst secondaries in the NFL? Didn't he have like a 33% target share last week? The reason his numbers were low last week is because the Rams didn't throw the ball in the entire second half of the game. They just gave it to Kyren Williams like 30 times against the Cardinals. And they're like, well, we're just going to keep doing this. And then that's why he had a disappointing game.
That's also why he's out for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate to say it, but
Sean
that's
McVay, shame on you, but we got to take advantage of it with Puka Nacua.
Where is he? Somebody get him
Puka
suited up.
Nacua. So Pittsburgh has allowed over 200 receiving yards per game to the wide receiver position. At least one opposing receiver has gone for 70 plus yards against them every single game this year. 3rd in yards per completion allowed to the wide receiver position. So look, again, I talked about 4 catches for 26 yards last week. He did drop a touchdown, so he should have had 5 catches last week. He still had a 33% target share. It goes to Nacua and it goes to Cooper Kupp. That's the only people that get the ball in the Rams offense. So I think that this is such an easy over here, over on the receptions, over on the receiving yards. Officially, it's at 4.5 receptions at -150 to bet MGM. I think that's just safe to lock it in. But if you want to tease it up a little bit more, alternate receiving yards, I got no problem with that. I mean, the projections have Nacua for 65.5 receiving yards, 5.8 receptions is his projection. His line's at 4.5. So this is an easy over for me.
This is why you use the prop bet cheat sheet, everybody, because you can see the projections there next to the best place to bet these numbers and where the overs and the unders lie. I mean, it's literally the cheat sheet. Like, we're telling you exactly here at Betting Pros where to bet it, what to bet it at, and all you got to do is just go ahead and bet it. So again, this is easy stuff here. We're trying to help you, help us help you, like Jerry Maguire. That's what I'm trying to do here. But the prop bet cheat sheet is just, it's the greatest thing. Welsh and I use it all year long on the baseball show. Every single day we were using the prop bet cheat sheet. It is your go-to for sure. And I'm all about this one too. And Puka, I'm sure will come up on the DFS show today as well with Debro, which again, if you're looking for that on the YouTube side, it's only on the audio side. You can go find it there. But Cooper Kupp is at the very top of the board at wide receiver because there's no Chase this week. He's on a bye. There's no Jefferson because he's hurt. Like, you have Aiyuk and some of these bigger name guys, on different slates. So Cooper Kupp is super expensive. Puka is the fascinating pivot to me because he is still very cheap and coming off a quote unquote, as you put it, disappointing week, Erickson. He is the perfect opportunity to smash this week. I love it. All right, let's go to you. Welsh, we still got anytime touchdown callers, but you got one more pick for us. Let's go. What do you have?
Well, if you guys downloaded the Betting Pros app, you know that you can follow all these beautiful gentlemen. You can follow me as well, and you'll see some of the bets I've already talked about. If you are following me, bettingpros.com/app or your app store, download that. You could see some of these bets I've talked about. I have not put this bet I'm about to tell you up. And this one, I just was inspired by Andrew Erickson because Erickson loves to be a downer. Every time I ever do a show, he's like, I got like 2 or 3 unders. And I'm like, oh my God, how we play these unders, but they work. I was inspired by it by a running back that I'm not into this week. I'm taking the under rushing yard prop for Jerome Ford. I am not a Jerome Ford stan. It is 55.5. He has hit this twice, but I don't care about the 49er thing. They stunk. You're able to run all over them. But what did we see in that game? We saw an increase in Kareem Hunt, and Kareem Hunt looked pretty good. They're going to be more comfortable passing with Deshaun Watson, but this is a tougher matchup against the Colts. Running backs against the Colts, number 1 running backs, have actually only beat this total twice this year. It was Travis Etienne that did it and Kyren Williams, and they've actually faced Etienne twice, and he only cashed this twice. I don't think Jerome Ford's breakaway potential is worrisome about this, but the Colts in general are a better run-stopping defense, 86 yards rushing on average with a team that is split and is going to be comfortable passing a little bit more. So give me the under on Jerome Ford rushing yards, 55.5 as my inspired Andrew Erickson under shade of the day.
I love it. And I agree with you 100%. Kareem Hunt looked better. And he also got that veteran rest day on Wednesday, which tells me, get ready, kids. You're going to get more Kareem Hunt on Sunday when you start seeing stuff like that. Erickson, give us one more for the road here before we get to our touchdown calls of the week.
Going to Christian Watson over 49.5 receiving yards. And, you know, the funny thing about this line is you can totally see where it comes from because you look at Christian Watson, it's like, dude, he's only gone over 49 receiving yards in 4 games in his NFL career. 2 years in, 4 games. Every time he's gone over this number, he has 90 receiving yards or more. So this is one of these where he either is going to be finishing with like 30 yards or he's going to be getting 90 yards. So to me, it smells a lot like a ladder bet when it comes to Christian Watson because of the matchup at play here against the Denver Broncos, who are the worst team in terms of giving up explosive plays. Like that's why I think the Chiefs struggled against them, honestly, playing Denver because they don't have explosive playmakers. The Packers do. And all the Packers have been trying to do all season is launch these deep balls to Jaden Reed and to Romeo Doubs and to Christian Watson. It just hasn't worked out. This is where all that regression cashes in a big way coming off their bye week against the Denver Broncos. I mean, Christian Watson had 177 air yards the last time we saw him play. His average depth of target was 26 yards down the field. Like they want to launch the ball with Christian Watson, and it's the perfect matchup for it to cash in. So I think Watson's going to go over 100 yards in this game. 49.5 is way too low. I'm obsessed with Christian Watson this week.
I am too, Erickson, and it is ladder bet season here with Christian Watson. I'm with you 100%. I've got it lined up right now as you were talking because this is where I wanted to go after you were done. And if you bet it at 50, at 60, at 70 plus, at 80 plus, at 90 plus, at 100 plus, right? You could start with 2 units on the, the minus on the 50 just to kind of lock in everything and cover yourself a little bit. But if you do 1 unit after that, it'll end up being somewhere around 70 units and you'll get twice your money back there on that. So
also,
that's a good one.
Let me throw this out to you.
And just for S's and G's, you throw that anytime touchdown score prop on top of that. We have plus 185. So that's another one to throw into that mix along with it. Go ahead, Welsh.
I've thrown around a couple players. Drake London, I really like. I like Brandon Aiyuk this week. If you decided to play the alt line for Brandon Aiyuk at 80 receiving yards, Christian Watson at 80 receiving yards, and Drake London at 80 receiving yards, you could pair all 3 of those together for 32-1 on your money to just have a fun little bet for the week of 3 players that we all like on the alt line.
Enjoy yourself, everybody.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself, sweetheart.
Do something nice for yourself, all right? Welsh, give us your touchdown call of the week. Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to give you 2. I'm going to give you my safer one, who is going to be Aaron Jones, who looks spry in practice. He's back. He scores touchdowns for this team. And the Denver Broncos give up lots of them to running backs. How about 12 touchdowns to running backs, 8 rushing, 4 receiving? Aaron Jones plays it across the board, and it's even plus money this week at 105. You don't get plus money on Aaron Jones most times, but he's a little bit banged up. For a deeper call, going to throw out Rashee Rice, who is around 2.5-1. I think it's plus 230. And he is the Chiefs' most targeted wide receiver in the red zone. He's got 7 targets, which is, I think, in like the top 20 of red zone overall targets. So they get in there, they look towards him. I know you guys might like somebody else in there, but Rashee Rice is a little bit of my deeper play, but Aaron Jones is my official.
Look, it's not, I don't know if we like it. It's just kind of, it feels like, you make this trade for Mecole Hardman, and Erickson, you were saying before we started, you can feel that moment in the broadcast. Mecole Hardman, touchdown. What's old is new again. Like some stupid thing like that.
He played 8 games last year, and he scored in half of them.
I know.
And they were all red zone touchdowns.
And the number for him, right now, I'm looking on FanDuel. It's not even up.
I saw it plus 400, I think, for any time, and then plus 2,500 for first touchdown.
FanDuel doesn't even have him up yet, so keep an eye on some of these other
We got to wait
books.
for him to be active, but
I know,
I'm sure he'll be out there.
Let me tell you, it's going to be good times. All right, Erickson, give us another touchdown call besides Mecole Hardman.
In Godwin we trust. I'm going to Chris Godwin
again,
here
the dad
because
jokes
he is the
everywhere.
king of regression everything. You're looking at players with the most receiving yards without a touchdown, Chris Godwin. You're looking at players with the most red zone targets without a touchdown, Chris Godwin. Oh, he's checking off all the boxes you're looking for. And when you look at the matchup against the Atlanta Falcons, where are they weakest? In the slot. Last week we had Curtis Samuel had a really productive game against the Atlanta Falcons. So I love Chris Godwin here in this particular matchup. D. Alford's a bad cornerback, second in target and catches allowed from the slot this season. And when you look at it from a first touchdown perspective, the Atlanta Falcons offense cannot do anything in the first half of games. They're one of the worst offenses in the first half this season. They've averaged like less than a field goal on offense on the road this season in the first half of games. So I think the Buccaneers are going to strike first, and you know who it's going to be? It's going to be Chris Godwin falling in the end zone, and you're going to be like, here we go, plus 1,000, first touchdown, Chris Godwin, let's go.
Yeah, you can do everything in that same game, too, with all the Bijan stuff we talked about at the top of the show.
It's going to be fun.
Godwin.
Bucs, Falcons, baby.
Even
I got
the
a lot of
London
action
stuff,
in this
dare
game.
I say. Good times. Just to recap, everybody, what everyone's in on. Godwin, Jones, and Rashee Rice to get in the end zone. Erickson's got Christian Watson, 49.5 receiving yards over. Puka, 4.5 receptions over. Keaontay Ingram, under 10.5 receiving yards. Jacobs, under 73.5 rushing yards. Bijan, over 3.5 receptions. Welsh has Bijan at receiving yards, over 24.5. Over on Drake London's 47.5 receiving yards. Michael Mayer, over on the 20.5 receiving yards. Over for Brandon Aiyuk at 65.5 receiving yards. And Jerome Ford, under on the 55.5. Welsh, so great to have you on the show today. Thanks for hanging out with us. You can catch Welsh doing all the college football stuff here on the channel. He does the baseball show with me too on our MLB channel, so subscribe to that, because before you know it, baseball will be back in around February, and we'll be there in January doing more shows. So go check that out as well. fantasypros.com actually not even .com. It's the YouTube channel. It's Fantasy Pros MLB. That's what it is. Too many things in my head. That's the
too many things. Brains are frying. Just go with the bets. Don't worry about all the other stuff. Everyone worries about like, what was
I'm betting the Christian Watson ladder bet. I'm doing it this week. I didn't think I would find another one this quick after Achane. But you know,
he is the Achane of wide receivers.
He is, in a lot of ways, he is. On that note, let's end on that. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Andrew Erickson and the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.